your astrologer Wonder Girl, and I'm here to give you your weekly forecast for the week of Monday, June 26th to Sunday, July 2nd. Now this week to me is the week that we really need to step into our power to own who we are, what has happened to us for the past 6 months, and to really live it, okay? I think for the past 6 months, maybe even longer, since the eclipse that happened in September of 2016, we've been formulating an entirely new identity, a new person that we want to be, maybe starting new things, changing some of our life and our routines and our relationships so that we can let this new person emerge, okay? And I think the first few months of this year have been very hard because we've been making all these changes and letting some things go and overcoming some deep internal stuff. And I think this week is the week where the tides start to change, where it's not so much, anymore. It's not so much about fighting for what we want and making the changes and doing all these crazy things. It's about living it and accepting it and stepping into it. It reminds me of a quote from one of my favorite philosophers. I do have like a very artistic, like philosophical side to me, and there's a quote from Friedrich Nietzsche, one of my favorites, where he says, Amor, fati. You must love your fate, which is of course your life, okay? And I think that's what's going on this week, is that you need to learn to accept everything that has come to you in the past 6 months, where you are now, whether you like it or don't like it. You need to accept it and to own it and to step into it for whatever it is, the life that you have right now, okay? And stop wishing that you had some other life. Stop wishing that things weren't right. Stop thinking that you haven't done enough to get you in the spot where you need to be. Just trust that you are here at this moment and that this is what was meant for you, okay? The reason why I say that is because the end of this week, and I think, when is it? It's on Friday, actually, so we've got to wait kind of all week to get here, but we have Mercury and Mars, which are in Cancer, going to oppose Pluto, okay? Whenever a planet opposes another, it brings more attention to this area than perhaps there was beforehand. And Pluto is all about our strength. It's all about what we really want and what makes us feel powerful and strong, okay? So we're gonna have a lot of attention here on this part of our lives this week, really asking us to understand our power, especially since Mercury is involved and Mercury rules the mind, to understand your power, to think about your power in the right ways, and to communicate it. With Mars there as well, it's going to ask us to channel our power and these things, these deep feelings and changes that we've been going through, into a way that works for us, into a way that can actually help us manifest the life that we want and go from there, okay? So that's the good thing about this aspect. The bad thing when you get oppositions, though, is that you can tend to go a little too far in either direction. So you can either get lost in how much power you have and be really passionate and forceful and force things on people in some way, and kind of get lost too much in one direction. So you got to watch out for that this week. Even if you are happy where your life has been and feel really confident about where you're going, you need to make sure that you temper it in a way so that other people can understand, so that you don't alienate other people, and so that you don't ruin all your projects by bulldozing them over and getting a little too hasty this week. The other side of that too is that if you've been having a really hard time with this energy, which I think a lot of us have, is that we can also get in the tendency of feeling like we're not strong enough. We haven't done enough. Our life isn't where we want it to be. And we can get in this kind of negative self-talk as well, where we start to think that our life, could have been different, or that we didn't do what we needed to do, or that things aren't right, or that we're not good enough. With the opposite side of that Mercury aspect there. And I think this week is the week where you need to tell yourself the right things that support you, that uplift you, that can help you live the life that you want to live and be more at peace living it. And I think you need to channel some of these changes and things that have been happening to you that perhaps may be a little bit more uncomfortable into a way that is supportive for you and can help you have the life that you want, okay? And that doesn't tear all this progress down and doesn't create kind of too much chaos in a way that's not productive, okay? So that is what is waiting for you at the very end of this week, okay? When we get to the end of the week too, I think what's also going to be important is for us to focus on what we value, on our hearts, what we love too, and what makes us comfortable, as well as relationships and money. That's because we do have Venus at the very end of this week in a square with the nodes. Whenever a planet squares the nodes, it's super important, okay? It's like God is saying, you cannot pass and you cannot move to the next level until you fix and figure this thing out, okay? So I think before we learn how to express our power and be ourselves and move forward on that, we really need to figure out, what do we value first? Are we moving forward on the things that we value? Have we created a life around the things that we value? Do we have the relationships and the people and the resources that we need in order to fully express this power and to move forward into these changes that have happened to us, okay? So that's coming there. Before we get there though, I think there are some difficult feelings and emotions that we may have to deal with and have been dealing with for the past few weeks, okay? I think the past few weeks, especially since the beginning of June, we've been trying to figure out where our life is going. We've been trying to get answers, perhaps, maybe confirmation that we're on the right path in some way, insights about what to do next and how to further continue on our journey after things have kind of been turned upside down recently. And I think we've been trying to do that, but I don't think recently that the answers have come to us in the way that we wanted them to come to us, okay? I think getting insights recently has been very slow for us, which maybe be a little frustrating. I think also that maybe we didn't get the answers that we wanted. Maybe we got answers, but they weren't quite the answer or the response that we were looking for, and then we had to adjust to some of those things so that we could go on. So I think as we're coming into stepping into our power owning and living and loving our fate and the life that we have and that we worked for and that kind of thing, I think we got to deal with you know, some of these other things, maybe not getting the answers that we want or liked, and having to put those in the right perspective, okay? And I think what's going on this week before we get to this very end point is us really trying to, I want to say, come to terms with all of that stuff. Come to terms with the life that we have, with the things that are in front of us that we can touch, see, and feel, and perhaps the things that we wanted to happen that didn't happen. And I think that's where this week it's going to be important to engage your mind, to think about things in a very logical, intellectual kind of perspective, maybe detach yourself a little bit from these things in order to kind of figure out what is going on, okay? And in order to build more of that stability into your life, that's because we have Mercury coming in, making some of these same aspects that Mars was making last week, really helping us to engage our mind to figure out what is happening, where is our life going, and to do it in a way that is more balanced, I want to say, and more logical, and that doesn't like tear us and rip us apart on the inside. I think that's the main message of this week, is if there's anything that's come to you or that hasn't come to you or that's frustrating, this week is the week to put it in the right perspective and to understand it in new and different ways, so that at the end of the week, when maybe you have all these very strong feelings about your life and where your life is going, you don't get lost in how upset or hurt you are or what has or hasn't happened, okay? So that's this week. Your card for the week is the, oh, it's reversed. It's the Eight of Wands reversed, okay? This to me does indicate maybe you've been trying to go so fast through life. I know I have, okay? I don't like taking my time. I don't like being patient, all right? And I think this week is a week you gotta realize, you can't have everything when you want it, as fast as you want it. You gotta take a step back, you gotta wait, you gotta let things kind of sit and simmer, and you gotta use your intuition to kind of feel in the dark some ways. You gotta focus on some of these areas that maybe you haven't quite focused on. You know, it's like when life slows down, it doesn't mean you're doing something wrong, it doesn't mean something's not right, okay? It doesn't mean you're not going anywhere. It's a good thing because it gives you a time to focus on some of the other things and to do some things that you didn't get to do, and to work out some more of the kinks and details, and to give you space to rest and to relax if you need it, okay? So take the opportunity this week to slow down, okay? And don't beat yourself up for it. Don't, you know, try to push things that aren't meant to happen, and just wait and relax for things to come, because you are exactly where it is that you are meant to be. So that's all I have for you this week. Thank you so much for watching my horoscope. If you like it, please like it on Facebook, like it on YouTube, share it with your friends, and I will talk to you later.